Hi, my name's Gabe Newell, and I work at Valve.
Okay, so recently I interviewed Notch, Minecraft Notch, and he says as he got more successful, he stopped looking at the price of the things, he stopped looking at the price of the groceries, stopped looking at the price of the things he was buying. Have you had a similar feeling as you've got more and more popular with Valve, successful?
I think that different things motivate different people, and for me the most important thing has always been the social environment of the people that I work with. That's what motivates me. Some people are achievement motivated, some people are competitively motivated or financially motivated. And for me it's always been about opportunities to work with people I really like and respect and to build stuff. And in that sense, as Valve has been more successful, it's brought in an even stronger and more talented group of people for all of us. So, for example, recently Michael Abrash joined the company, and it was like everybody in the company got a little bit smarter that day. And Jeremy Bennett is this world-class art director, who's art director for King Kong. And when he walks in the door and everybody, just gets a little bit better and enjoys coming to work just that much more, that's what motivates me.
I mean, similarly to your working environment, the protesters outside the office the other day, what did you say to those guys when you went out?
We went out and, we thought it was awesome. We wanted them to stay. So, we took them pizza, and they'd only brought 2 sodas, and they're planning on being there for 2 days. So we got them stuff to drink. They're very nice, very passionate about our games. At one point, somebody else in our building called the police to chase them off, and we were worried. But it turned out that the police officer was a huge Team Fortress fan, so he's like, oh yeah, I totally understand. It's like, let me go get my sign. So yeah, it was great for those guys to show up, and we gave them a tour of the office, and then they went back and protested some more.
Are you worried that you might get more protesters now?
I think it'd be great. They were very nice protesters, so it definitely, we were all excited.
Okay, so they were obviously asking about episode 3. Can you give us any news on that?
No, we don't have anything about Half-Life or episode 3.
Okay, fair enough.
If the protesters couldn't get it out of us, what?
How many protesters would it take to get some episode 3?
I don't know, but if they'd like to come out, we could find out. So.
Valve's model, it's been said, the Valve's model is to experiment at every point. Is that still what's going on in Valve with the new games and the?
Oh, absolutely. For example, we're here at Gamescom, and this is the first time we've run our own tournament. And in order to do that, we built a bunch of client-side technology, server-side technology that allows us to host this. And depending upon how it goes today, there probably are a set of changes we'll make and improvements we'll make. Then it'll move into some of our other games to make sure we've thought through the issues about, if something works in an action RTS, how does it work in a first-person game? And if that, as that evolves, then it'll go into Steamworks, so it becomes available to all of our partners to use as well. So yeah, we see ourselves continuing to always be thinking about what are the opportunities to do a better job for our customers and our partners.
I mean, launching, giving the first kind of glimpse of Dota 2 with the international, with the tournament, it seems to be a kind of statement that Dota is an e-sport, or that's what you're doing with that. Was that motivation to cement in people's minds as a competitive e-sport?
Well, Dota 2 is we think we will really benefit as a game developer right now to be running this tournament. We already have, actually. So we've had, there's a very strong group of testers that IceFrog's been using sort of throughout the development of Dota. And we've been working with them on Dota 2 to, address their issues and incorporate their feedback into the game. So we've already been through, like 4 or 5 different versions of the user interface, and it's evolved as they've seen, when we try something, they react, we go back to the drawing board. for the international, it made a lot of sense for us at the point in time where we were with development to sit it, to get a bunch of people who play at this level and make sure that we can, that we've addressed all of their concerns and all of their issues. That's going to get fed back. There's stuff we're learning today that's going to go and impact builds that we do, next week. It's just part of that process of iterating through development. The next step, we've opened up signups for a beta. We'll go through that and have an invitation beta, and then we'll have an open beta, and then the game will go out, and we'll just continue to iterate on development from there on out. It's both been something that Valve has always done with our games, and if you look at the Ice Frog's history, it's the same thing where, there are all these differences between, 627 and 631, where he's continued to evolve, and this for us is the right step. It's already been a very valuable experience for the entire development team to put this tournament on.
Do you consider defensive agents to be a kind of genre? I mean, considering how many there are around now, you've got League of Legends, Blizzard seem to think that they own part of Dota. What's your opinion on that?
Well, I think that the action RTS genre is a great genre, and we're excited. We're fans of it. I mean, we got into this because a bunch of people at Valve were huge fans of what Ice Frog had done, and then it was great to find out that he was interested in doing a sequel that sort of removed some of the limitations and constraints that he'd been living with. But we're fans of the genre and love to play these games ourselves, so we think it's great that there's more attention being paid and a lot of games are going to get developed.
So you don't mind the fact that you're going to be competing alongside the already established kind of League of Legends?
Yeah. Well, I think it's always, we've been around for a long time, and I think there's always this assumption that video games are a zero-sum game, that if Quake does really well, then Duke Nukem will suffer, and that's never the case. It's like gamers who play a good game want to play more games, not less games. So you're never hurt by the success of another game developer. You almost always benefit. The audience grows. People's nothing makes somebody less likely to spend money on games than a bad game. So you really do want everybody to be being successful and moving games forward. When Zynga goes out and gets 100 million people playing one of their games in 2 months, I think every game developer is benefiting. Not everybody should throw in the towel and say we've been defeated.
EA have recently said regarding Origin, regarding Steam, that Steam has restrictive terms of service. I mean, can you shed some light onto what that is and what they're referring to?
I don't really know what they're referring to by that. In general, with Steam and with Steam partners, it's incumbent on us to create value for those partners, whether it's EA or Ubisoft or Take-Two or any of the other developers who are using it. So, that's our goal, is to create enough value so that it makes sense for partners to use the technology, the tools and services and the community that we've created. So, we're going to keep trying to do that with EA and trying to convince them it's worth it to have their games on Steam.
Cool. I mean, do you think that similarly to how you were referring to more good games makes more gamers, would you say it's a similar thing with Origin and Steam? I mean, more platforms, more distribution platforms means you're going to make more money from it eventually?
So I think that right now there's always this temptation to assume that the way things are today is the way things are going to be, and having been through this long enough in the games industry, I think I and everyone at Valve know that that you're only as successful as what you've done lately. So the idea that Steam is somehow the answer to digital distribution I think ignores the fact that every 2 or 3 years something's going to change dramatically. It's like along comes the Wii, and that overthrows a bunch of ideas. Along comes social gaming, and that throws over a bunch of ideas about what things are like. I think Steam is the same way. It's like if you stand still and if you're not looking to the future and doing the things that you need to be valuable in the future to customers and partners, you're going to get left behind really rapidly. So that's what we focus on, is what do we need to do next? What are the tools and services and features and capabilities to make gamers happy and other software developers happy?
Why is that still so popular now? Why is Counter-Strike still right up there on the Steam charts? What's your take on it?
Well, Counter-Strike's a really good game, and the value of a multiplayer game is embedded as much in the sort of the ecosystem as it is in anything, and we're aware of that, and we need to get an update out there to all those customers. There are a bunch of people on the consoles who need an opportunity to play Counter-Strike, and we've been doing regular updates of Counter-Strike Source, but we need to make a larger investment and get something out to those players as well.
Are the PS3 guys who bring global operations going to get something special for their time, considering the Steamworks incorporated?
Well, they'll get the features and functionality that we can create on Steamworks, yeah.
What about cross-platform play, like we could do the Portal co-op?
TBD. We haven't decided yet.
I love that cross-platform play, by the way.
Yep.
It's so cool, you get to play people you would normally do.
I agree completely.
So have you tried Origin? Have you downloaded it and tested it out, or how to go with it?
Yeah, I was talking to some people about with EA about Origin, so I got set up with an account and was trying it out. So yeah, I've tried it.
And what do you think of it?
I think it does some things well. I think there's still some areas where, as a customer, I'd like to see it improve. It's not that different than any other system like this in terms of, there are good things, there are positive things and negative things about it. So.
What's kind of your personal experience with Dota? Have you played it yourself? Are you a fan of that genre?
Oh yeah, I've played Dota 2 about 800 hours so far. So the cool thing about Dota 2 is it's probably the game that we've made that we're most obsessed with playing. As a game developer, you tend to get pretty tired of the thing that you're developing because you've had to experience all of the flaws and difficulties all along, and you sort of reach the point where you're like, let's just be done with this. And Dota 2, every day after we're done working on the game, everybody goes home and starts playing it until 2 or 3 in the morning. So yeah, I love playing the game. I'm not, even on the same planet with the guys who are playing here. It's certainly exciting to see them play, but after 800 hours, I'm still pretty much a noob player when it comes to playing at Valve and our Dota 2 games.
Why do you think it's been such a success, that the formula of Dota? Why do you think it's so passionate about it?
Well, the thing that has really struck me when I play Dota 2 is that you're constantly creating and destroying plans in your head. In other words, you have a lot of expectations, and your expectations extend pretty far forward in time, but whether or not you're going to stay on that pathway is changing like every 5 seconds. I think that's one of the really interesting things about it, is this range of reinforcement schedules that you're operating under. And it's hard for me to point at another genre that has that aspect to it. As a designer, I'm also struck by the fact that you go through this complete sort of RPG arc in 40 minutes. And I'm curious about the sense of incompleteness I almost always have after a match. I always feel like, I'm not. So it's that, I think there's an important quality to that. I mean, the first thing you want to do after you have a great game of Dota 2 is play another game, and the first thing you want to do after you've had a bad game of Dota 2 is play another game. So I think there are a lot of lessons to game designers in it that are very complementary to the lessons from other genres, right? So if you play a lot of MMOs, there's stuff you can learn that's in Dota 2. If you play first-person shooters, there's a lot of stuff you can learn. So it's a nice arrow in the quiver for game designers.
Will we be wearing kind of Dota-style hats in TF2?
Oh, I'm sure that there'll be Dota-themed hats in TF2 at some point. So. It is, after all, a war-themed hat simulator, so.
Do you think that Steam, has Steam got a responsibility to promote PC, do you think, in the same way that Microsoft or Sony kind of promote their consoles? Do you think that Steam should be the guys to, the flag bearers for PC?
I don't, it's a lot easier for me to think of it as having a responsibility to gamers and game developers. The PC it's hard to test the flag bearer for the PC. It's a lot easier to go out to customers and find out, do you like this? What do you dislike about this? How could we make this better? So we tend to be a little narrower in terms of how we try to think about what problems it needs to solve. A lot of times it ends up solving problems that are generally valuable. It's just nice to have a test where you can actually go and figure out whether you're doing a good job or not. So obviously we love the PC, we love the openness of the PC, we value the hardware innovation. It wouldn't be possible to move as quickly if it weren't for the existence of an open internet client and an open hardware client like we've had. It's why all the consoles are using PC graphics hardware now, is that it's impossible for a proprietary closed hardware architecture to have the rate of innovation that an open platform like the PC offers. So that aspects of it we value very highly and support as much as we are able to. It's just easier when we're making decisions to think in terms of customers and partners than it is to think of being a flag bearer for the PC.
I kind of like the idea of us, there's like adverts on TV for, say, new Call of Duty Christmas time, we watch that, and there's a PS3 one, and there's an Xbox one. I'd love it if there was just a Valve one, saying, look, all that's on PC, and it looks, better on PC. Look at it, here it is, all those games you just saw, you can bet all of those.
The things that we've been really successful at are the sales. The sales have done a really good job of creating a huge amount of support for customers getting huge numbers of products and the developers. So when you think about the sort of promotional side of reaching out to a wider audience, that's been one of our most successful things that we've done. Working with the publishers to do publisher-wide sales, or the Christmas sales, or the summer sales. The thing that we tried in the last summer sale was we tried to build more of a story and make the sale itself have more of entertainment value. I think you'll see us trying to do more of that in the future, because it helps get a bunch of people excited to try stuff that they haven't tried before. In other words, the total revenue being generated by all game developers goes up when the vehicle that you're doing that by is in and of itself entertaining to customers and potential customers.
So the kind of potato art, can we expect more exciting things like that on Steam? The potato, the potato.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Obviously you can't just do another ARG like that, but that cross-game cooperative cross-promotion was super effective. And even if you didn't ever buy any of those games, you still got entertainment value out of it. And another thing that was important about it is that, as much as the individual developers created entertainment out of it, all of the fans were creating, there was room for them to participate, right? They were as much a part of the value as the individual developers. And that to us is a really good sign that you've made room for them to be entertaining. For us, it was tremendously entertaining. reading through all of the, the posts that they were making, and then we hijacked, some of the key contributors and brought them, to the launch, and that to us was, maybe it's a little inside baseball, but for us it was a huge amount of fun to see what they were doing when we already knew what all the answers were and what the ARG itself was.
It was an exciting day when we got to kind of walk home. I don't know, everyone felt excited that night, when we had games to play and stuff. It just felt like a proper event. It was cool.
Yep.
Okay, last question. Why does today, when there's Steam is on, or Steamworks is on PS3, and there's not before my games coming out, why does PC still matter? Why is it still an important thing to be around when there's consoles kind of outselling some games on almost?
People like their PCs. There are huge numbers of them. Each person gets to have the one that they like rather than the one that somebody else has defined for them. There are like 350 million PCs sold last year. So the economies of scale are tremendous. So you get great value for your money. I don't know. They're great. I have like 12 of them. So.